Recently, I've been feeling extremely normal. I go to my 9-to-5 job, I meal prep on Sundays, and sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit crazy, I'll drink wine and cry over movies. Being arguably one of the most normal people ever, the other day I was sitting on the bus daydreaming about a life I wish I had when I was struck with a voice echoing in my head.
I literally just finished work and it's 5:19. Try being an influencer for a day.
Why was this video that is almost like 2 or 3 years old at this point haunting me? I don't really know. Maybe it's because when I compare my life to what an influencer does in the day or what I think they do in a day, I feel pretty mundane. In a lot of cases, influencers are usually cool people who do cool things and go cool places with their cool friends. And not to say that I don't feel like I am cool and have cool friends and stuff, but I'm not that cool. Anyways, I couldn't help but wonder if I wasn't on the way to my 9-to-5 right now and instead I was living the influencer life, would I be happier? And the more I thought about it, the more I wasn't sure. Why do I want to make this video? Well, I think that I'm kind of in an interesting place right now when it comes to being an online content creator. Right now, I do have a small following and I do feel the pressure to post good content, post consistently, hopefully make money with the content that I post. And on the other hand, I'm still a normal person who works a regular job and I look up to these influencers or content creators being envious of what I think they have. And also, one of my main character flaws, I would say, is I'm an extremely envious person. The other day I saw someone who I went to college with. I didn't even know this person and they were doing something that I would potentially like to do in the future, and my first thought to seeing them do something that I want to do is that I think that I want them to die. Anyways, when it comes to being an influencer, I feel like it's a little bit more complex than I even think. So in this video, I'm gonna run a little experiment. I'm going to try to get as much into the headspace as an influencer as physically possible, and I'm gonna follow a general daily life routine of what influencers usually say that they do in the day, and I'm gonna post all my influencer videos on TikTok to track my growth to see what potential future I could have in the influencer space. And overall, I just wanted to determine, like, is being an influencer hard? Some logistics before I begin. So to figure out my routine for the day, I basically just watched a ton of influencer, like what I do in the day videos, and made a list of reoccurring themes that happen throughout all of them. So here's the routine I will be following. Make a morning get ready with me. Go on socials and engage with community. Make an aesthetic video. Post an Instagram story, edit content, have a meeting, go somewhere cute for lunch to take content at, do a brand deal, edit content, check analytics. So yeah, let's go on this journey and see if by the end of this video I agree with Michaela, whatever her name is, that it's so hard to be an influencer, or if I think no. All right, so it's day one. Like, not really day one because I'm only doing this for one day, but the beginning of the day. Also, please ignore my pimple. Don't know where that came from. Anyways, so I have a long list of things to accomplish today, and honestly, I woke up a little bit too late because last night I had a crazy cough. I woke up at 3 in the morning. I was like, ah! So the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a morning get ready with me. This is across the board. Everyone loves to do this. I think this is an influencer staple, except when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for my morning get ready with me, you know, like, a lot of people just do like the telling the stories, the talking about a boy or something. Honestly, I don't really have anything like that to talk about right now, but I have always wanted to do like a fake little like radio show, like advice thing. I always thought like if I ever tried live streaming would be like maybe when I want to do it. Today I'm going to be attempting to do that for a morning get ready with me. So I'm going to pick like a little CD and then pick like an advice topic that I think I could give. I don't know. Oh. Alright, so my first logistical thing that I have to think through here is playing the CD. So the issue is I want the sound to be diegetic, which is like when it's in the world. Non-diegetic is when it'd be like a song playing over top of something. I want it to be diegetic. And with that, if I'm recording something and jump cutting, I don't want to have it jump cut too much because I want it to seem natural. I'm going to record like a 5-minute video with the CD player in the background, and then I'll do my own individual recording where I'm talking and stuff. I'm also really fucking hungry, but I have to wait to go to my Instagrammable lunch to eat something, which I guess I could have ate something earlier, but now it's too late. I have to just wait. It's my little setup I'm working with. Time to freaking film. It's, I'm gonna guess it's like 12:30 right now. So I'm all ready to go. I think this is gonna take like an hour, if I'm lucky, hopefully faster, if I can get my words out good. You know, sometimes I'm bad at that. Ever since I've been a kid, I've always been obsessed with the idea of being a little, I've always wanted to one day be a little, what the fuck? Oh my god, this is so fucking hard. When I was younger, I always loved listening to the talk show radio host people that give advice to random callers, and I've always wanted to do that, so today I decided I want to. My first advice session today, I thought we'd listen to some Biba Doobie, starting with track 1, Take a Bite. Forgot to mention we're going to do a little get ready with me while we do it. First thing I wanted to talk about today is the idea of having a hobby and like how do you get a hobby? One of the most difficult things about being an online content creator is having to commodify your personality. You might be thinking like, oh, all celebrities do that, like that's not a big deal. But I would disagree. When it comes to a traditional celebrity, they're expected to be in the limelight, but they aren't necessarily expected to share everything about themselves. Yes, they're supposed to be okay with people trying to pry into their personal lives, but they aren't necessarily required to give that information up for free. They usually rely on their acting or musical skills to build their public personality, even if they shy away from the spotlight themselves. This is different than the influencer. Not only is it expected for your thoughts and opinions to be shared with the class, but that's also how you make your money. So hypothetically, the better personality a person has, the more potential they have to make money. I guess it's not always that they have to have a better personality, but at least an entertaining personality. I think this creates a weird expectation of the viewer and the poster. I feel like it's not uncommon for someone to post something harmlessly on the internet and then blow up and feel the need to capitalize on that content and themselves so they can have this influencer career because it's one of the most sought after careers in recent times. Because they receive all this attention and potentially money, they force themselves to be an extroverted, interesting person even if they might not live that interesting of a life to begin with. And no shade on that because like who really lives that interesting of a life in their day-to-day? Like most people live a pretty normal life. So I feel like the main route a lot of people that are trying to become influencers go to is to share all of their deepest, darkest secrets and put all of their business out into the world in hopes that some people will grab onto it and want to follow along with the story. And this just keeps going until they are essentially just a walking, talking TikTok video who has no privacy anymore. And it can sometimes be a little bit unnerving when you see someone who has already put all of their cards on the table, grasping at straws to maintain relevancy through their personality, and it's like just chipping away at who they think they are, and you can just see the life leaving their eyes. And if there's one person who comes to mind when I think of someone who sold out as soon as physically possible, like they didn't even have a second to breathe before they sold themselves out. And that person is the Hawk Tuah girl. I don't think I've ever seen anyone ditch their life and move to LA faster. Except for maybe like if you were going on Ellen, that's probably the other fastest way someone has ditched their life and moved to LA. But without Ellen, she's the first person. So anyways, as soon as Hawk Tuah I don't even know her name. It's Haley, but I'm gonna call her Hawk Tuah. As soon as she moved to LA, she started posting vlog content. She started going on podcasts. People started to talk about her on podcasts, and you'll never guess it, she made her own podcast. First of all, real quick, her podcast has over 200k subscribers on YouTube. I know a portion of these subscribers are probably just people that subscribe for the meme and they never actually watched any of the content, but my jaw dropped when I saw that number. But anyways, I took a little deep dive into Hawk Tuah, or Talk Tuah, its formal name. And the podcast is her pretty much talking about as much of her life as possible. And also promoting her shady cryptocurrency.
My Hawk meme coin is live!
She talks about Pookie. She talked with Jojo Siwa. She talks about her job before fame, her family, like all of the topics. I was watching her first podcast episode when I noticed when hovering over top of the, I don't know what you'd call it, YouTube timeline, you can see the little sections that are portioned out on all the topics that are talked about. There are so many topics on a 56-minute podcast episode. And it just feels like, for what? She's obviously made money off of the Hawk Tuah meme, movement. I don't even know what it is. But it was such a meme that I feel like it's such a clear example of someone who had their 30 seconds of fame and then will eventually be forgotten on the internet. Like us all in some ways, but some people it's more clear than others. But why give up all of your personal life for your 2 years of fame? Not even just necessarily talking about her anymore, but I can't help but think about all the people that lay out their whole personal life on the internet. And there could come a point down the line where you meet someone in public or catch up with an old friend, and they will know more about your life than you expect them to, or maybe even feel comfortable with them knowing. But it's one-sided. You don't know that much about them because they aren't posting all their information online, but they know all of that about you. You don't get to choose who sees what you post online unless you're private or you block a bunch of people. So it's gotta feel weird when someone approaches you and you're faced with the parasocial relationship that you had a hand in making without maybe even realizing it. Like, say if you're super open about your relationship, if someone approaches you in public and is like, I hate your boyfriend, which I don't know if that's ever happened, but say that that does happen, you can't really get mad at them because they think that they're a part of the conversation even if you aren't thinking that. Once you open the door of using your relationship or your personal life to make money online, there's no turning back. A good example of this is when people make TikTok series about going on Hinge dates or just dates in general, and then they start getting mad at the comments for asking about the dates because it's like, that's not your business. And it's like, you're making this my business, like you have to follow through on your side now. Like you don't have to, but you can't have your cake and eat it too, you know what I mean? I think it's inevitable for people to share more and more online as they get more comfortable posting online and with their audience as a whole. And I don't think it's bad. It's obviously an important part of building a community is being open with the people who are watching your videos. Especially since, in my opinion, a lot of people maintain their followers by their personalities rather than the actual content they're making. So you can't really avoid it, but I think you have to be extremely careful about it unless you're okay with selling yourself out for money. And in my opinion, I feel like it's not really worth it in the end. I feel like that's a fast track way to burn yourself out by your own personality. And I can't help but think that sharing so much has to be absolutely horrible for a person's mental health. I also feel like the idea of commodifying your personality has been normalized by calling it like a personal brand.
This is exactly how to build a cult following, and everything that I'm about to break down is something that the top 1% of creators have mastered.
In my opinion, being an online creator whose job is like to be themselves, giving yourself a brand is very confusing. We all know social media is fake, but as we become more and more entrenched in our online lives, the line begins to blur as to what is real and what is fake. Where does the line get crossed between doing something for yourself and doing it for your online audience when they're so intermixed? Especially if you do that thing every single day. While we think everything online is fake, someone is still doing the fake thing that we see in their real life. It's sort of like when everyone thought TikTok was going to get banned and everyone was spilling their deepest, darkest secrets on the fake shit that they do to get likes. And whenever I saw that, I couldn't help but think, like, if you did that every single day, you were doing that. Like, that wasn't a fake thing you did for likes at a certain point. Like, that was a real part of your life. But basically, even if we all collectively agree that a lot of stuff that's posted online is fake nowadays, real life people are still doing the song and dance that we are perceiving as fake and unrealistic. Doing this song and dance until they eventually burn out because they can't handle selling their personality anymore. Which is when we usually get the dramatic why I left YouTube videos. Alright, so I finished filming my get ready with me / radio host thing the fuck. I don't even really know. That took only about 20 minutes, surprisingly. Buying a bunch of shit. Low-key, I feel like I was pretty good at like getting the words out today, which is very helpful. So now I'm going to edit this video and post it. The next thing on the agenda today is to do like a little like OOTD, like going out to lunch, taking Instagram photos. Okay, I feel a little bit stressed, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I have to go to lunch now. Which, I guess that's what they say happens when you're an influencer. What I would say one of the hardest things so far with like influencer for a day is trying to think of like shit to talk about. Like if I were to do this every day, running out of shit to talk about immediately. I was struggling to figure out that I was gonna talk about hobbies for my get ready with me in the morning. Okay, this is taking fucking forever to load, so just pretend that you're watching a time lapse of me editing. So now that I've finished that up and posted it, I'm gonna let it simmer while I go on to my next thing, which is going to be just like a lifestyle video. I'm gonna just like put on a cute outfit, which doesn't sound like it should be stressing me out, but it kind of is. Cause I have to make my outfit be like actually good, like people want to like repost the outfit, you know what I mean? I'm gonna post an Instagram story.
Okay.
Obviously, some important work to be done.
I mean, we have like...
I was kind of fire. Insta-worthy.
Insta-worthy.
Now, I've never really posted anything on my story before, so right now on my Instagram I have 201 followers.
Huh?
Halfway through the day, I was still having fun, but at the same time, I also just wanted to go to lunch and not have to think about taking videos and creating content. Except I had to if I wanted to make my midday vlog. And to make my midday vlog, I had to transform myself into a cooler, hotter version of myself. And that's because I know that the only way I can even hope to garner attention and views on TikToks is to be someone that people either want to be, are jealous of, or are taking inspiration from. I have to put on a good outfit, I have to take cute pictures, and I even have to pick somewhere cute as fuck to go for lunch, or else it will not be worthy of my Instagram. Would I have liked to just go to Chipotle and take a nap? Yes, but we had work to do. Being cool while trying to be authentic was one of the most exhaustive parts of this day. Don't get me wrong, I think I'm a cool person, and everything I'm doing in my influencer day is something that I would probably do in my regular life anyways. But with social media, you have to perform a little bit. And with this in mind, I had to be cool. What even is being cool nowadays? When it comes to being cool online, there's a lot of different variations as to how someone can achieve this. The most common one that I feel that I see online and interact with the most is being stylish, but not like you're trying too hard, and you also have to lead a really interesting life, but also have a lot of money to do that without really having to work because you're living your interesting life. And most of all, a common theme in a lot of these videos is you have to be authentic. Authenticity is one of the internet's newest favorite buzzwords.
I just had to say, your authenticity is needed, babe. I am so sick and tired of people not embracing their uniqueness. I need literally everybody to be posting on TikTok. You need to understand, like, authenticity is the highest form of vibration.
But really, it just kind of seems like another internet trend, because I don't think it's true authenticity that people like. I think what people like is the ability to project themselves onto someone else who they perceive as cooler or more interesting than themselves. And if that person is authentic by your standard, you believe that it's achievable for yourself. When I was doing some research for this video, I read a really great quote from the article Social Media and the Commodification of the Self, where the author says, "We post these stage moments whilst watching every other person do the same, somehow never thinking that theirs aren't any more real either." Basically, this is in regards to how we all know that what we post is usually pretty fabricated online, so why don't we think that other people's postings are equally as fabricated, and that somehow they actually are being authentic, and we just don't know how to do that? And with bringing this point up, I don't think that everyone online is inauthentic. There's a lot of creators that I like who seem like really genuine people, but also I would guess that there's probably some people that I believe to be authentic who are meticulously planning their outfits or their life or what they post and are actually being inauthentic, and instead they're just really specifically curated. I also think this is a reason why a lot of people think creators change when they blow up and have a lot of money. They no longer seem real anymore because they're not relatable. But I would argue when a person gains enough money, they might actually become their authentic self because now they have the means to do anything that they would like. So it's not that they're inauthentic, it's just that the viewer can't vicariously live through them anymore. Obviously, there's a lot of cases where creators do change because of money, but I don't think that's always the case. And in any case, being cool and seeming authentic online is just very subjective to the viewer. I could think that someone seems extremely inauthentic, and the person next to me could think that they're the realest bitch out there. My version of cool and authentic is probably extremely different than millions of other people's out there. So why is there so much pressure to be it? Because I am the person making this video, let's real quick talk about my idea of being cool and my problem with my desire to be it. For example, someone who's cool to me is someone who is really trendy with fashion. Well, sometimes I like to be delusional that one day I could be someone who wears a cute ass trendy outfit every single day, but in my mind I know that cannot be the case because it takes a lot of time, energy, and money to actually curate a cool outfit every day. And I really do sometimes struggle with that, especially when it comes to comparison to online creators, because I'm just like, I want to be cool all the time, you seem to be cool all the time, but literally in reference to this whole section I'm talking about, they could not even be being cool all the time, and I wouldn't even know. So I don't know why I get so caught up in my head about it. So to kind of wrap up this portion, when I was getting ready for my Instagrammable lunch, I knew that I was going to be posting my outfit online, and I knew that I was going to be posting where I went to lunch online. And after I decided on what I wanted to wear and where I wanted to go, I kind of just felt like a fraud. Going to that lunch without filming it, I probably would have wore something similar due to the fact that those were clothes that I own, and I also maybe would have gone to a similar place. But it was just the fact that I knew that I was going to be posting it online that made me feel that I was immediately getting rid of any of the coolness I had because I knew that it was fake. Like I was talking about earlier, there's a fine line between doing something for yourself and doing something for social media, especially when your career, money, life depends on social media. And I guess this portion of the video just made me realize that I have to try harder to make sure that I'm doing things actually for myself, things that I actually like, and not just because I think it'll make me be perceived as cool. So it's a few hours later, I have my first video posted. I went out to lunch and got some content. I took some pictures, insert pictures here. Slay, 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 slay. Probably a little bit later in the day than like a typical influencer life would be. But right now I think I'm going to go through some comments on my YouTube channel, see what everyone's saying, maybe respond to some, opening up my YouTube studio up. I get so many nice comments, which makes me feel so like, ugh. But I feel the urge that if I respond to like one person after I do like my initial like first day responses to people, that I will need to respond to literally everyone, and I don't have time to give that. Like, I guess I do kind of have time. I guess that's my job today. I should. See, but a true influencer would just think about having to respond to all the comments and just not doing it. And then with responding to everyone, like if I want to respond to all the nice ones, then I also have to respond to the ones that are being kind of mean to me if I don't want to acknowledge them. Like, I don't care if people leave like mean comments, especially if it's like them disagreeing with me, like that you're entitled to like how you feel about that. Same the way that I am, you know? But there's certain ones where people are just like being rude for no reason, and that's like, I don't want to have to answer that. So now I'm gonna work on the other video that I shot when we were out to lunch. It's gonna be like an aesthetic video, because I don't know, that's kind of like what it seemed to be. I went and took a cute outfit of the day, but filming a full outfit, the angle just never fucking works. Like, I don't know why. I can never figure out like how to properly angle myself, but I'm gonna edit my aesthetic video, and then I have a meeting with my manager, and then I have to make one more video. Don't even know at all what that's gonna be. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, manager.
So Megan, I see here I got some questions for you, okay? What would you say your long-term goals as an influencer are?
I think my long-term goals of an influencer is to make so much money and have lots of brand deals.
How often do you post on these platforms? Or what's your growth been over time?
Well, today I made 3 TikToks.
Okay. All right.
So what do you think my realistic timeline's gonna be for having $1 million?
I'm gonna give it a month.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Maybe a month and a half.
So I was thinking too.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too confident in myself, you know. So I know like with my timeline, we're like sitting at about a month of when I need to be having $1 million. So what type of content do you think I should be like strategizing with? Like right now I'm in the lifestyle space, but
well, if we're looking at a month and a half, do you know who Sniper Wolf is?
I know vaguely who Sniper Wolf is. So what do we think like the minimum cleavage that we're looking at, you know?
I'm thinking like minimum 75%. You know, I don't want to see a whole lot of face. I don't want to see a whole lot of the video. We'll enlarge you. You're half the screen. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, mostly it's there. Boob. It's mostly boob. Yeah. So now you're a new up and comer, right? You know, coming up on the scene, making big waves. So for brand deals, what are we talking about? How much are you charging for them?
Well, I think it differs, you know. Am I going to be putting it in my content without disclosing that it's an advertisement? You know, because I have to consider potential legal fees if I'm going to do that.
It's a productive conversation, and I look forward to never talking to you again in 2 months.
I think that went really well. I've been posting YouTube videos for about 6 months now consistently, and it's genuinely one of my favorite things ever. So I was surprised that I was beginning to feel burned out when I still had things left to do on my agenda for the day. I'm not sure if I was feeling this way because I had to do like one thing after another and it was like always a different thing, or if it was because I knew that I was putting in a lot of effort into something that will probably not go anywhere. And the point in posting the TikToks was just kind of hoping that one of them was going to be picked up by the algorithm and go viral or something, or not even viral, just like some comments, you know? I've been seeing some videos recently by famous influencers talking about how they would post like 20 times a day before they even blew up on TikTok. Even if only a portion of the videos that were posted garnered a little bit of attention or comments, I feel like that's so many interactions with so many people. Which brings me to my next point, which is online anonymity. I'm not exactly sure how many more or less profiles are online that are anonymous versus have a face attached to it, because I don't really think there's a statistic for that. But in my opinion, I feel like it's a good 50-50, if not a little bit more anonymous when it comes to online compared to people posting their face and standing behind their comments, if you see where I'm going with this. Either way, a good portion of a lot of comment sections are filled with anonymous people who will tell you exactly what they think about you and you specifically. And honestly, there's not really any consequences to being an online asshole nowadays. There are two sides to this, because while there can be a bunch of jerks posting mean comments anonymously in people's comment sections, it also makes it a lot easier to be like, and who are you, when you read comments that have a faceless profile. And I would guess this online anonymity has to be one of the hardest parts about being an influencer, because if you're an online creator and you rely on social media to make your income, you have to consider almost all of the comments when it comes to pushing your content forward. Like, how should someone know that they should continue rage baiting if they don't read the comments? You know what I mean? But it just has to be hard that you have to consider these comments when, say, if you work a 9 to 5, like, you wouldn't be faced with that. If you work a 9 to 5, you might have a year-end review where you might get some negative feedback, but it's not like you're getting that negative feedback or these rude random ass comments every single day for no reason. Like, imagine if you were at your job and someone just comes up behind you and was like, "You're really fucking ugly, do you know that?" Like, even when I worked retail, when people would get mad at me, I would usually just push it off and be like, no, they're just mad at the way that I'm doing the job. Like, they aren't attacking me personally, and I would just brush it off my shoulder. I guess my point with this is it's just much easier to detach from your job when you are a regular worker versus someone who is an influencer. So obviously one of the things that influencers are, especially like true influencers, are most well known for are doing brand deals. Making this video, of course, I feel like I have to do a brand deal. The main issue is no one is wanting to give me a brand deal. And also, I think if I make a fake brand deal and actually post it to somewhere, like, they could sue me or something. I don't really know exactly how that works, but I have been watching a lot of videos of influencers talking about the brand deals that they do. And one of the most popular ones that I've seen a lot is when they sneak in like a bunch of products for like a get unready with me routine. So I thought I would do one of those today. So the first thing that I have to do, God, I've been doing so much more writing today than I thought I would. I have to write down a script of what I want the video to be and the products that I'm going to use to include in my brand deal. When I was going over this idea in my head, I'm like, oh, what's something that I bought recently that I use at night? Have my like focal point be within the video. And the most recent thing I bought is Robitussin, which I do indeed have to drink tonight so I don't wake up in a fit like I did yesterday. I wish I had like a whiteboard, you know, whenever like the YouTubers have the whiteboard. Huh? And then I'm going to include some products. So I use Ordinary at night for my skin. And then I use Summer Fridays. It's like a face mask or some shit. I don't know. And then I'm going to include the Robitussin PM in the routine. And I'm going to make it really fucking aesthetic. So I wash my face, which I'm not going to show in the video. I have my baby tripod here. I bought this tripod from, what's that nerd store? Computer Mart, Micro Center, and it's kind of shit, I'm not gonna lie. So don't buy this specific tripod. I don't know what it's called from Micro Center because it doesn't work very well. Also, I don't really know how close to my face I'm supposed to be. I'm trying to make this one aesthetic, guys. How the fuck did they get close to their face like this? You know when they do that? Maybe I'll just do like a sexy side slay. I definitely use way too much of this product. Ugh, it doesn't look good. Also, the issue with this video is if I watch it back and I look absolutely fucking insane, I can't redo it because I'm not taking off my skincare to put it back on. Ugh, does not taste good. Ugh. So I think this is the end of my influencer day. Afterwards, after I finish recording right now, I'm going to do some writing to recap kind of how I feel about the rest of the day, which I will be reading right now. All right, so now let's look at my analytics. The final results are in, and I must say, if I was a full-time influencer, I better start looking for a new job. It's not good, I'm not gonna lie. So I posted 3 videos on a fresh account. The first video has 80 views and 2 likes. The second video has 77 views and 1 like, and the third video has 75 views and 1 like. I gained no followers and no comments. Which I'm not gonna lie was very disappointing. I feel like I'm pretty good at making content. Like, I feel like my YouTube videos are kind of good. I mean, like, shit, I don't know. But even more than just being disappointed in myself that I was clearly not creating content that people wanted to watch, I was also feeling the pressure and disappointment with each post I made that I was failing, essentially. And I would assume that if you were posting that on an even larger scale, especially when money was involved, having a video tank or videos tank consistently would feel absolutely horrible. Well, there is skill when it comes to posting online. At the end of the day, you are a little bit at the whim of the algorithm, which makes relying on content creation as a job a little bit risky. So after my influencer for a day experience, I would say first, while I am trying to grow on YouTube and I want to grow my community, subscribe down below if you haven't. I absolutely hate the idea of relying on social media to fund my life and perpetuate my career. Well, yes, you can get to the point when you're someone like Emma Chamberlain, who, let's be honest, never really has to work again if she doesn't want to. But being an Emma Chamberlain is an extremely uncommon experience when it comes to being an influencer or a content creator. So I feel like most people who decide not to further their education or their career because they're popular online right now are really just shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to like 10 years down the road. Yes, there are transferable skills when it comes to being an online creator, but how many social media blanks will we have in the world in like 10 years because we have a fuck ton of influencers who never actually learned how to do a real job? Now to the big question of the video, how hard is it to be an influencer actually? I don't think it's hard, especially when you compare it to doing like manual labor or something like that. But I would say it is far more stressful than a traditional job, especially a sit down in the office 9 to 5 job. When I go to work, I do it to the best of my abilities, and then I get to go home and not think about it for as long as I am not at work again, which is different than an influencer. For the entirety of my influencer day, I could not stop thinking about the fact that I had to make more content. I had to be looking good. I had to be seeming cool. It was overwhelming to my brain. And because I was so preoccupied, I couldn't let myself actually enjoy the moment that I was in for longer than like 3 seconds before feeling the need to take out my phone and take a picture of something. Obviously, I'm not relying on the content I made during my influencer day to fund my life or anything, but I was relying on it to make this video at least somewhat interesting. And so I was feeling the pressure that I needed to be creating and capturing good content throughout this whole day. Overall, I think in this day and age, we can no longer keep pretending that being an influencer or a content creator is not a real job. There are far too many parts of it that are integral to society at this point. You think of advertisements, the stuff we actually choose to buy, the way businesses operate, what we choose to watch, and literally almost everything else I feel like is somehow involved with the internet, and influencers are always a part of that, except for like a doctor or something. So final conclusion, not hard, but not easy. Anyways, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. This was actually kind of a lot of fun, even though it was stressful as fuck. Yeah, I don't think I will be trading in my 9 to 5 anytime soon necessarily for many reasons, but yeah, it was an interesting way to spend the day. Like and subscribe. Ew. Okay, bye.